Happy Wednesday evening, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody is had a good dinner, had a good night, and ready to sit back in, kind of mellow out. We got quite a few people out here in the chat. Thank you very much for joining me. Um, Today's going to be a bit different. And I've been going back and forth about doing this live stream for quite a while. Um, for those of you who follow me for my CNC and woodworking content, this is not going to be about CNC. This is not going to be about woodworking. We're not going to do that this evening. What this is kind of a special thing that it's going to be a one-off. I'm not going to make this a regular thing. But I have gotten so many questions over the years, and quite a few here lately, from people who want to get into making their own YouTube videos or want to start doing live streams here on YouTube. And there are a lot of common questions, a lot of a lot of the typical questions, but also a lot of inquiries looking for tips and how to get started and what to do to get started. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about YouTube, making content for YouTube, and developing a following. Now, I have to preface all of this by saying that I can't tell you how to get 1 million subscribers, and I can't tell you how to get 10 million views on a video, mainly because I haven't done either of those things. I can tell you the things that I know and hopefully kind of give you a little bit of insight and into the mindset that I use to make videos. So if you're um, if you're looking for CNC content or woodworking content or something like that, we're not going to do that tonight. And the reason is because I didn't want to take away from my core audience. And that's one of the reasons why I've gone back and forth about even doing this topic, because this is not what people expect from me. And this kind of leads into one of the topics that I'll talk about a little bit later on. Um, Probably the number one question that I get when it comes to YouTube video and making YouTube content is, what equipment do I use? And I'll go into some of it here in just a minute. I brought a few of the pieces here with me to show you. But get to thinking about it. If you're serious about getting involved in YouTube and creating videos and editing videos and what have you, you probably already have everything you need. Most folks, the best camera they own is on their smartphone. And that is a perfectly valid camera to start with. In fact, I know YouTubers that are big names that have 1 million subscribers and such, uh, that are that's what they use. They use a smartphone. Some of them will edit right there on their phone. Some of them will edit on a tablet. The bigger names, they pay somebody else to edit their videos. So you don't really need to spend a penny to start. Okay. Get out, shoot some video with your smartphone, and then start practicing on that. They asked me what editing software I use. For editing software, I don't recommend the software I use, mainly because it's not free. There are some fantastic software solutions out there. Probably the number one is called DaVinci Resolve. And there's a link to all of this stuff down in the description of this live stream. DaVinci Resolve is free editing software. They will give away their software because they would like for you to buy their hardware. They are a professional grade, studio quality editing solution. And their editing hardware, I mean, you are talking about some of the big, huge consoles that have 5 and 6 digit price tags on them. Well, for the home hobby guy like me, that ain't happening. Okay. DaVinci Resolve is used by a lot of the big names, and it's 100% free. They'll give you the software, hoping you'll buy their hardware. So there's a link to it down in the description of this video. Easily, the number one thing that I hear from folks who have given YouTube a try and have decided it's not for them and have then left YouTube is they hate editing. And I can understand that. Editing is a chore. It is a job. It can take, depending upon what you're trying to do, it can take a couple of days to edit a video. Mine don't take that long, as you can probably tell. But when you have several shots or several cameras, like in my case, I use 2 or 3 cameras, sometimes getting all of that footage collated together and cut together and put into one cohesive unit, that can take a while. It has to be something that you want to do, however. Now, I think I'm getting ahead of myself here, and I'll get back into this portion of it in just a minute. But let's talk about the mindset at first. This is not for everybody. And again, for those of you who are just joining us and are wondering what's going on here, this is not normally when I do this kind of thing. Tonight, I'm going to be answering questions about YouTube and content creation because I get a lot of questions on it. So I won't be entertaining CNC questions tonight or woodworking questions or anything like that, unless it has to do with the topic at hand, which is content creation for YouTube. So to me, the correct mindset is highly dependent on what kind of video you want to create and what kind of video you want to put out. And I would suggest that be the first thing that you do is you sit down and take a good, honest assessment of what you want to do. What is the purpose for your channel? Is it for just entertainment? Do you want to use it as a revenue stream? Are you going to try to get monetized and use this as a revenue stream and maybe be able to retire from your day job and do this full time? And I know people who have become very successful at that. Or is this something that you want to use to educate people? Is this something that you just want to use to show off your work, or maybe use it as a marketing tool to be able to show how a project was built that's up on your website for sale, or maybe to show clients, to give them updates and what have you? So figure out what you want to do with your YouTube channel and start working in that direction. If you're thinking about turning it into a revenue stream, there's a few things that you do need to know about that. It is possible, it can be done. You will need to build up a following. You will need to build up a subscriber base. You'll need to build up an audience. The current YouTube standards are you will need 1,000 subscribers and you will need 4,000 hours of watch time. What does that mean? That, 4,000 hours of watch time in the last 365 days. So what does that mean? YouTube, according to YouTube, they say they consider a view to be somebody clicks on the link and watches for at least 30 seconds. That's considered a view. They keep track of how long that person stays on that video and continues to watch that video. That information is collected on your channel, and they keep track of that. When you keep putting out videos, you get 10 minutes of watch time here, 5 minutes of watch time there, 8 minutes of watch time here. It keeps adding up. And over the previous 365 days, you need to have 4,000 hours. When you've reached 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time, you can then apply for the YouTube partnership program. That program, they start splitting ad revenue with you, the content creator. And it's a 70-30 split. You get 70%, they keep 30%. I think that's fine. It's their platform. There are other platforms that actually charge you to upload your videos. YouTube doesn't do that. But I'm sure some of you have heard of the Vimeo platform. You have to become a member over at Vimeo, and you have to pay a fee to be a member over at Vimeo. I don't know what their monetization is like, even if they have a monetization program. YouTube is one of the better ones that I've seen, and so it's the one that I use. Once you have those two, 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours, you can monetize your videos. There are other revenue streams that you can use along with YouTube, and I'll try to get into some of those on another, a little bit later on. But a lot of people get discouraged real early and real easy when they see that, man, 1,000 subscribers, how long is that going to take to get? Or I'm stuck at 320 and I'm just not getting any movement. All I can say is keep going. Keep going. It takes a while to get up to 1,000 subscribers, and it takes less time to get that 4,000 watch hours, but because that's aggregated every day, it's added to, compounded every day. So just keep going. When you have developed, when you have figured out exactly what you want to do with your channel, start working towards that goal. Now, this is true whether you make things, you're a part of the quote unquote maker community, or if you're doing vlogs, or if you're like me doing education based content, you will develop a following. You have a style whether you know it or not. You have certain ways you do things that are different from everybody else. And those are all benefits that will work in your favor. If you have a special talent you want to show off, by all means, show it off. If you have a certain way you like to do things, by all means, show it off. There's plenty of room. There's plenty of room for everybody on this platform. So I say go for it. You have nothing to lose but the time you put into it. Speaking of that, let's see here. We have a quick question. Is it worth uploading shorts to increase watch hours? Does it matter if the usual watcher community prefers longer form video? I have not put out any YouTube shorts, so I can't tell you, is it worth it? What I can tell you is it's gaining traction. Now, monetization on shorts is separate from the long format videos. For quite a while, shorts weren't being monetized at all. It's fairly recent that shorts are being monetized. What I would do is I would get into the YouTube support pages on shorts and look specifically for shorts monetization, because there's other criteria for that. I can tell you, however, that YouTube shorts are a good way to get your videos in front of other eyes that may or may not see your longer form content. I know quite a few of my friends, they also produce shorts, and I'm seeing a lot of their shorts in the normal rotations of other things that come up when I start cruising YouTube shorts. So if you're thinking about it, go for it. I mean, if nothing else, it gets your name out there and people can click on it and go to your channel and see what other of your long form videos that they may be interested in. I'm kind of jumping around here because certain things are reminding me of other things. Um, the key to remember about all of this is YouTube is 100% content driven. 100%. Meaning if people aren't interested in what you're presenting, they're not going to watch. And that's all there is to it. Um, if they're not interested, there's nothing you can do to get them to watch it. So if you are, oh my gosh, here in the maker community, it's almost a cliche in and of itself. Table saw, a crosscut sled for your table saw. There are almost, but not quite, million videos on YouTube on how to make a crosscut sled. Is there really the need for another one? Just my opinion. I don't think there is, because there are just so many. And it's easy to get lost in the background noise if I make another one. It's just going to be another video of cutting a little bit of plywood for the base and then cutting this and squaring it up and cutting that and squaring it up and making your initial. It's the same thing. You can do it in your sleep. You really have to have something special to make that crosscut sled video something that people have to watch. Now, if you're doing epoxy inlays, that's pretty popular right now. It's pretty competitive right now, but it is something that people are interested in. And if you have done a gorgeous project, by all means post it. You will probably get some views. I can't guarantee that, but it is 100% content driven. If you are making things nobody is interested in, there's nothing you can say or do to get them interested in it. Okay. If you make a fidget spinner video today, it's going to be ignored because nobody cares about them anymore. That's all there is to it. Yeah, Greg Snow Crusher says pumpkin spice crosscut sled. Well, it's okay to be trendy. Just be prepared for that trend to go up and down like that, you know. But that does bring about a good point. I mean, we're getting into autumn and folks are into autumn themed projects. We're getting ready to get into the holiday season. Folks are going to be interested in holiday themed projects. So there are some trends that you can jump on. There are some ways of getting interesting projects in front of eyes. But all of that is after the video is created, and all of that is after it's put up on YouTube, getting eyes on that video. Because there are, gosh, I'm trying to remember, there's something like 1,000 hours of content posted onto YouTube every minute. So there's no way everybody is going to see your video. That's just not going to happen. It's going to get dispersed to people who are interested in the topic at hand. So you're going to have to get in the mindset of what do I want to accomplish with this video, and then weigh that with what do I want to accomplish with my channel. And for me, it comes down to what I try to do on my main channel is I try to show people who have never run a CNC router before in their life that this is not over your head, that you can do this. So we're going to sit down and we're going to do a few techniques, and I'm going to show you how to accomplish a few things in the software so that you can take what you've learned and run with it. I consider it a success when you don't need me anymore. So I want to show you the basics and how to navigate the software, what this tool does, what that tool does, and let you go ye forth and multiply. And I really honestly hope you're successful. I genuinely mean that. Well, I have put myself into a rather small niche that changes constantly because as people get better, they don't need me anymore, which I'm happy for. So my audience is constantly changing. And I'm fine with that. That's what I want to accomplish. I'm not out to become rich and famous off of this. And it's a good thing too, because I'm not. But I'm happy with that. I'm very satisfied. Um, Other people might not be satisfied with that. They want 2 million subscribers and they want 10 million uh, views per video. For something like that, you need to be thinking about entertainment. There are a load of content creators within the how-to category on YouTube, more than I can count anyway. I don't think I can count that high. But the number of standouts you can count on one hand. Somebody like Bobby Duke. Bobby Duke is an artist, a maker, and just a nut. He's a very fun person. But he found that by injecting his personality into his videos and not being afraid to be that nut on video, he exploded. He went absolutely nuts. The project itself was, I mean, fascinating. The one that sent him over the top was he took a bunch of colored pencils and glued them together and then carved them in such a way that it looked like water pouring and then splashing on the ground. Then he took a piece of basswood and carved a coffee mug and glued it onto those colored pencils. So it looks like this coffee mug is pouring colored pencils, this rainbow of colors down onto the ground and then splashing up. The project itself was absolutely gorgeous, but it was his nutty personality that kept bringing people back. So if you go watch Bobby Duke Arts and you look at his videos, yeah, he's a screwball. Yeah, he's way over the top. But look at his numbers. He's one of the exceptions to the rule. He learned how to attract an audience with his personality, and the content is what keeps him relevant, and the content is what keeps him going. And he's making a very nice income off of that. Thank you very much. So if that's not your style, if you're not ready to do something like that, then look into another genre or another aspect of YouTube. Personally, I got started on it just by answering the same question over and over and over again. And I decided it's easier just to make a video and then link people to that video when I saw that question again. And that's how it started, and that's where it came from. I do this because I like it. I actually enjoy it and I have fun with it. Editing is work. And that's the one thing that most people despise most of all is editing videos. And yeah, it takes a while. But I have worked out a schedule for myself in that I can shoot video over the course of a few days. And that afternoon, if I shoot 20 minutes of video out here, I can come in that afternoon and after dinner in the evening, when I'm sitting back and relaxing, I can be editing that segment and get it down to what I want and where I want it, and then just save it. And now that piece is saved in a folder and it's ready. And when I get all, let's say, for example, 11 segments done over the course of however many days it took me to do the actual project. I can sit down one morning, arrange all of those clips on the timeline, and render it, and I've got the video. Add music, add any voiceover work or anything like that that I need to do. So I don't have to sit there for 8, 10, 11 hours and edit the whole video. I've done it in small pieces here and there along the way. For example, my last video, which was my lean-to shed build, that actually started in July when they came out here and they actually built the shed. I just set a camera over in the corner, got their permission to do so, and shot time-lapse footage. That was the first 6 minutes of that video. Everything else was done in time-lapse, and I did a voiceover over the top of it. That brings me to another point, which is style. It doesn't matter what style you're working with or what your content is. I've already mentioned the camera. There are a lot of big names that still use a smartphone for their main camera. You can make some absolutely brilliant videos with that smartphone camera. All you need is a way to get that video off of that camera and into your computer that you're going to be editing on. Having said that, I know people that shoot video on iPhone and edit it on in iMovie on their iPad. They don't even own a computer, so it can be done. But people will forgive less than stellar video. If your lighting isn't perfect, or your lens zooms in and then zooms back out, they'll forgive that. But what they will not forgive is bad audio. Think about how you watch video. Most of us these days watch either on a phone or on a tablet, some sort of a mobile device, and we're using earbuds or headphones or a headset. Even at home, I use a headset because I get better audio that way. I can hear what's being said. And if there's music, I can hear the music. The number one complaint when it comes to bad audio is loud music. I would highly recommend getting a audio editing software that is free. It's called Audacity. I've been using it for several years now. There's a link to it down in the description of this live stream. It's 100% free. And learn how to use it. There are a load of tutorials on how to use different parts of Audacity for noise reduction, for volume control, for adjusting bass or treble or various different frequency ranges. More tutorials than you will ever need. I can edit audio, say it's a 10-minute audio clip. I can edit that in about 15 minutes, and it's rendered, it's saved, and I bring it into my video editing software and I sync it up and go. But loud music is the quickest way to get somebody to click off of your video, and they're just gone. Music that distracts, or even machine noises that distract from what the person is trying to say. If you're doing voiceover or if you're talking as you're shooting video, if they can't hear you, they're just going to click off and go away. So to that end, there are a couple things I'll suggest. Imagine I'm using a smartphone. I'm not. This is the camera that I use. If you're right up here and you're shooting something and you're talking, the microphone built into the camera is probably good enough. The microphone built into your smartphone is probably good enough. But if you setting this up 10 feet away from you on a tripod and you have a fan running in the background, they're probably not going to hear what you have to say. Now, there's several ways you can get around that. One of them is to get an accessory microphone that'll plug straight into your phone, Or what I did, and it was probably one of the better investments I ever made, was I picked up a Zoom H1 digital recorder. These things are dynamite. They really are. They are about $100, but so worth it. I also then got an El Cheapo lapel mic. I don't even know what brand this is. It was it was a 3-pack of these lapel mics, and I think they were $7. When I linked them down in the description here, I think they've gone up to 9 for a 3-pack, okay? And all it is, I plug it into the digital recorder, turn it on, start recording, put it in my pocket. This is clipped up here. You see it in all my videos where I'm doing a live intro or outro. And I just start talking. I process this audio through Audacity, then sync it up in my video editing software. And I get rid of the camera's audio. Sounds more complex than it is. There are all kinds of tutorials on how to sync up audio with video, but basically it comes down to you need a spike in audio that you can see in the audio waveform. So I turn on the recorder, I start the camera, then I go, it's that sudden clap. There's a spike in the audio. Line those two up and we're synchronized. And that's it. It took me longer to tell you that than it does to actually do it. So, and Michael brings about a good point here. A lot of editing software have an option called ducking. Yes, that will adjust background audio lower to make voices clearer. Absolutely. If your video editing software has auto ducking, you can explore that, and it does work. I find that I do use it on my video editing software, but I find that sometimes the auto ducking doesn't reduce the volume fast enough. So the beginning of a sentence or the end of a sentence will get chopped off. So I'll go in and I'll adjust those myself. I don't know. I'm kind of a perfectionist that way. My music will drop out about a half second before I actually start speaking in a voiceover, and then it'll come back up. Not everybody uses music, and that's one of those controversial things. If you're going to use music, and I don't want to digress into this argument because that's exactly what it is as an argument. My opinion, and you take it for every penny you're paying for it, okay? My opinion is don't mess with copyrights. Fair use is not a law. Fair use is a defense, a legal defense in court. Okay. So if you're prepared to go to court, fine. I'm not prepared to go to court. The only music I use comes from YouTube's audio library. It's supplied by YouTube. They can fight it out with the publisher or the music company. I'm not going to be the one penalized. If you're using copywritten music without a license, you risk getting your channel just completely gone, deleted. 3 copyright strikes, your channel's gone. No appeals. Done. I don't mess with that. And I'm not willing to go to court over a video. So I don't mess with it. I've also found that by having low music playing in the background when I'm doing a voiceover, if I have the volume adjusted low enough on that music, it's playing in the background just to fill in any blank spaces where I'm not talking in a voiceover. That's good enough. I don't even have to do any ducking. It's quiet enough that you can hear my voice when I'm speaking. This is going to get technical. I run my voice at um, -1 dB, -1 decibels, and background music at -24 decibels. Consistent audio is another thing. When you're assembling your video in your editing software, most video editing software down in the audio tracks, they have something called normalize. If you have ever burned your own CDs back in the day, you'll know that different music from different sources was recorded at different volume. So you had to normalize the volume on all these different music clips, so you didn't have real quiet music, then real loud music to where you're playing with the volume all the time, risk waking kids up and what have you. This is the same way. It goes through and it analyzes all of the audio and sets them to the same max, the peak volume level. And you don't have real quiet passages, then real loud passages. That's another quick way to get people to jump out of your video and just never come back. Again, people will forgive less than stellar video, but they will not forgive bad audio. They'll just click off and go somewhere else. So, yes, you will need to work on your video editing, but put even more time into your audio because that can make or break the video and your channel. And if you get a reputation of having obnoxious audio, there's nothing you can do to get people back. So think about the videos you like to watch and take notes. Don't copy, but take inspiration. If you like a specific angle that somebody is using or a specific way they have of explaining something or presenting something, then yeah, take inspiration from that. Think about the content that you like to watch, you know? Jack in the Shop says most of the time I don't talk on my videos. A lot of people don't, and that's fine. You don't have to. But even if you take, I call it the Jimmy DiResta approach because he's the first one I saw that did it. I don't know that he was the first one to do it, but he's the first one that I saw to do it. He set up a camera and time lapses everything. No music, no talking. You hear all of the natural sound, but he turns that sound down so it's not obnoxious. It's not real loud. I hear loud screaming machines in the shop all day long. I don't want to hear it in the videos. But if you turn it down, sometimes that comical, sometimes that, fast forward 10 times table saw sound sounds comical, but it's okay. It's fine. It's not my style, but I've seen other people use it very effectively. You don't have to talk. You don't ever have to appear on the camera, but that's going to develop your style. And that may be what sets you apart from the next guy who spends a lot of time talking, who, like I do, stand in front of the machine and explain what you're going to see and how you're going to see it and why you're going to see it. And let's get started. A lot of people don't do that. And that's great. You'll develop your style and people will, believe me, you'll get comments about what you're doing right as well as what you're doing wrong. It also depends on what you're trying to do with your channel. Do you want to be the star or do you want what you're working on to be the star? If you want to be the star, maybe the maker community isn't the right place. Maybe somewhere else, entertainment or vlogging or something like that. Maybe that's more of your genre, and there's nothing wrong with that. Uh, Again, just try to figure out what you want to do and gear it towards videos you want to see. Your audience will find you, and you will find your audience. It won't happen, excuse me, it won't happen overnight, but it will happen through a track record of putting out good content. I know a lot of turners who are into creating bowls with spalted woods or supposed trash woods and epoxy. And they're turning beautiful pieces that they're then putting up on their websites for sale. So you're kind of double dipping. You're getting the revenue from that YouTube video and you're selling the actual item itself. And the person buying it can see how it was made. Oh, okay. Yeah, I like that. So it's kind of a circle. I know quite a few people who use their YouTube channel to drive traffic to their website and use their website to drive traffic to their YouTube channel. If you don't find anything on my YouTube channel that you're interested in this week, go check out my website where I have plans or I have items for sale or even merch, baseball cap, a t-shirt, stickers, what have you. You can create more than one revenue stream just off of just about anything. And if you have your own website, you don't have to worry about monetization. The minute you set up that web store, you're monetized and you can sell your items right there. See, Go Sign Go. I have a new channel. I'm trying everything out to find my style and still working on it. Keep going. You'll get it. You'll get it. It just takes perfect perseverance and consistency. Set up a schedule that's easy for you to meet. You know, when I first got into this, the conventional wisdom was you had to have a video a week and just stay on that grind. You have to have a video a week and you got to keep going. Michael Mazalik says, what would you recommend as a good length of video? Video has to be about less than 10 minutes long, but one a week, every week, 10 minutes long. And you got to do this and you got to do that. It's BS. It's 100% content. To answer your question, Michael, I can't tell you. There is no perfect length. The perfect length is however long it takes you to get your point across, get your message across from beginning to end. If you're trying to show how you designed a file, however long it takes to design that file, obviously in short spurts. If it took you 40 hours, you can't put out a 40-hour video, but be concise and as clear as you possibly can within the constraints of the content. My longest video is about 15 seconds shy of 1 hour. My shortest video is about, I want to say it's 2 minutes, 55 seconds. But I was able to get the point across and then move on. I hate to use myself as an example on that because one of the reasons I make the videos I make was because I saw a gap in the video tutorial category. When Vectric comes out with a tutorial on using the molding toolpath, they have to cater to every experience level. They have to give enough information for the beginner to know how to use it, and for the experienced person who already knows how to use the software, they just need to know where the tools are for this particular toolpath. They can't stop and take the time for the beginner to explain everything. I can. So I not only wanted to show people how to insert tab A into slot B, I wanted to show them this is tab A, this is why it's tab A, this is how you make tab A. And now here's slot B, this is why it's slot B, this is how slot B and tab A interact, and now here's how you make slot B. So I can take that time and Vectric can't. And so that's the niche that I put myself into, and I'm perfectly fine with it. I'm happy there. Two Elms says the video should be as short as it can be, but as long as it needs to be to get the point across. Excellent. Excellent. But again, it's 100% content, because you could have the greatest camera work, the greatest editing, the greatest video production. But if you're making another circle cutting jig for the bandsaw, put it in line with the rest of them, because there's almost, but not quite, a bazillion of them already on YouTube. You know, yeah, there you go. Steve says if your video puts you to sleep, it will with others too. So there really isn't a magic number. The conventional wisdom used to be less than 10 minutes long. Well, that's impossible for me, number one. But also, if you notice, if you go to your suggesteds or your subscriber feed, or you just go to the YouTube homepage, there are a lot of people doing 30, 40, 55-minute videos out there that have hundreds of thousands or millions of views. It's simply the content that decides that. You've been renovating a house and you've got our home renovation 1 year and 35 minutes, and you look down and it's got 2.2 million views. Yeah, it's the content that got that. It wasn't the duration of the video. So, but I guess basically make videos you want to see. So, but that takes a lot of introspection on your part in what do I want to accomplish with this. So we'll get into a little bit of the equipment here, and then I'll answer. I've got a few questions here in the back. I upgraded from a smartphone. My first camera, which I still have, is this poor Canon, and you can see it's been through combat. This little Canon Vixia HF R800. This model is no longer made by Canon. So there is no link to it because they don't make it anymore. It's just a little HD camcorder. It'll film in 1080p, which is fine with me. And I can plug an external microphone into it. And there it is, right there. That was the decider for me. I tried a shotgun mic, didn't like it. I went to recording audio with the Zoom H1 and the lapel mic, the cheap lapel mic. I've used this for, I would say, about 6 years. Never missed a beat. I've never had an issue with it. It works very well. Earlier this year, I stepped up to a 4K Panasonic camcorder, and there's a link to it down in the description. Mount it to a tripod, and immediately discovered I don't like 4K video. They are huge files. I don't want to mess with that. I've already got a 2 terabyte external drive and a 4 terabyte external drive. And I don't want to be editing 20 gigabyte files to load something in 4K when I built a lean-to shed. I mean, that doesn't need 4K. If you're shooting sports or art, that's completely different. You want all that detail. 1080p is just fine for what I do. Okay. I will get into that absolutely next, Michael. Promise. This camera came with a hot shoe adapter that I can plug in back here. And that dovetails in with the next big purchase that I made, which is a Rode wireless what's it called? Wireless Go 2 microphone setup. Now you've seen these with a big furry cap right here clipped to somebody's shirt. That's what these are. They're expensive. Thank you, YouTube. And I love it. But here's the dirty secret. I turn this on and I plug that cheap $3 lapel mic into it. And this gets clipped to my back pocket and it transmits directly to the receiver, which is plugged into the camera. So I have bypassed my digital recorder. I no longer have to synchronize the audio. It's already synchronized. It's part of the video. And that slides right onto the hot shoe like so. And with that little short jumper cord, I plug it into the microphone. I'm ready to turn it on and shoot. Put this on me and I can walk all over the shop and my voice never drops out unless I turn my head away from that lapel mic, which happens. This setup, as you see it, is about $700. You don't need to go out and buy this. I did after about 8 years of doing other things. So, but it's not necessary. Again, you can make some really stunning videos, very successful videos with just your smartphone. If you don't plan on doing any voiceover work, if you're like, let me go back up here and find you, Jack in the shop, and most times you don't talk in your videos, you don't need to worry about audio at all. Just worry about the volume of the audio in your videos. So you can do however you'd like, you know, and that's going to relate to your style. Okay. Let's see here. Michael wants to know any suggestions on how to overcome the personal nervousness of being on video. It's easy for me to say, but basically put, I talk to the camera like it owes me money. When I'm out here in my shop, I'm not concerned about anybody on the other side of this camera. I'm more concerned that my next door neighbor's wondering what that crazy old man next door is doing now, out here talking to himself. But even then, that's short-lived. It is something that you can work on. It is something that you can get comfortable with. And again, talk to the camera like it owes you money or is trying to borrow money or wants to date your daughter. When I'm doing my screen capture videos, and that's another thing we'll talk about in a second. When I'm doing my screen capture videos and I'm showing the Vectric software, all right, what I do is I start Aspire, I turn on the screen capture software, I get my mic all set up and ready to go turn off the furnace so it doesn't kick on halfway through the video. I click record and I just start talking as if my daughter is sitting next to me and I'm showing her how I did something. Just a conversational tone, just as if I was showing her how I did something. I talk to my daughter all the time. There's no nervousness there. So why would there be if I'm imagining her there and I'm showing her how I did something? That kind of brings about some instrument, that kind of brings about some interesting little things in that when I'm playing it back to edit it, I have to take out certain little things where I'll say, and then we go over here and we click that. Okay. I don't need that okay in there. So I'll edit that out. That's why you see a lot of skip edits in some of my videos. I also notice that I say and a lot or so a lot. I've trained myself not to go as much as I used to. But and I just did it now. You'll get it. You'll figure it out and your nervousness will get over. The absolute worst thing that can happen on this camera is that you delete the video and nobody ever sees it. So it's easy for me to say, I know, but I'm in control of what comes out of that camera. And it's real easy to push two buttons and delete it. So it's not going to upload by itself. At least it better not. Let's see here. Jack in the Shop says there was a post that said 10 minutes a day, record yourself. Don't watch it until the next day. Do that every day. You'll find things to change and make you better. Don't know if that works, just something I saw. Well, I mean, whatever works for you. There are techniques that a lot of people use that does work for them. There are other people who will never be comfortable in front of the camera, no matter how hard they work or how hard they try. But that's also a way to develop a different kind of style because there are YouTubers all over the place that never appear on camera. And that works. It works perfect for them. You know, it was a couple of years before Jimmy DiResta ever appeared on one of his videos. Oh, the back of his head would be there or his hands would be there, but he wasn't standing there talking into the camera. That came along much, much later. Well, there's no reason why you can't do the same. You don't have to talk. You don't have to be on camera. If you can set up shop, put your camera on a tripod, turn it on and start work, then occasionally go over and move the camera to get a different angle. That works. That works. But overall, in general, I don't know. Talk to the camera like it owes you money. So, Go Sign Ghost says I was very nervous about being on video, but then I just talked to one person and knowing that there's not that many people watching me. Well, when you're watching, excuse me, when you're doing it and you're talking to the camera, there's nobody watching. You're talking to an inanimate object. Talking to this camera is just as easy for me as talking to this tape measure. They're both inanimate objects. And I'm in control of what comes out of this camera. If I take it out of the camera and I don't like it, it will never see the light of day again. There are several of my videos on my channel that were like the third or fourth time I recorded that video. I don't get it all in one take. I mean, and that's the other thing. That's the other secret, okay? Understand that when you're watching a YouTube video, you're probably not seeing the first take. I think we've all seen that some YouTubers will put bloopers at the end of their videos. I don't do that. I think that's fine, but that's not my style. Sometimes that's the best part of the video. It's pretty entertaining. But that's evidence right there that you're not going to get it in one take, and that's okay. You know. Wade McKay says, I teach college classes on Zoom. Best advice I could give is just start. You will settle in. I agree 100%. When I started 10 years ago, it would take 30 minutes to settle. Now I don't even think about it. Absolutely. Absolutely. Last Sunday was my 209th live Q&A on this YouTube channel. This coming Sunday is number 210. That's a lot of live streams. I don't even think about it anymore. I'm sitting here talking to a webcam. I'm chatting over here. I can see there's a counter that says 64 people are watching, but there aren't 64 people in my shop with me. If I had 64 people, now I might be nervous. But there's nobody here but me and any bugs that may have come in. So I'm perfectly fine and perfectly comfortable. It just takes it just like anything else, it takes experience. And the only way to get that experience is to just do it. Speaking of lives, I know a couple of people that's all they do is lives. They don't like to edit videos, so they don't bother. They just go on and they'll do a live stream and they'll work on a project with that live stream. They might go here and they might go there. 2 hours here, an hour there, 4 hours over here. I mean, it just depends on what you want to do. So, and it's wide open. So, Brooks Martin wants to know, how important are the tags? I'm not going to say they're not important at all, but there is less emphasis put on tags than one might think. What I discovered was, and this was through a little bit of exploration on my part, and through a YouTube channel called vidIQ. They are a company that kind of helps you monitor your YouTube channel. They give tips and tricks and what have you, and show a little bit more on the statistics side of the house than YouTube's analytics does. They discovered that what YouTube does, all right, let me preface this back up a little bit. I think everybody knows that YouTube will automatically close caption your video. If you post a video, they use voice or speech to text technology that is always learning to add subtitles or closed captions to the bottom of every video that's uploaded. And they do this on every video. That's why they ask you in the video upload section what the language is. What YouTube does is it takes the transcript of those closed captions and it takes certain keywords and matches those up with what people are searching for. And vidIQ did a couple of videos to test this. What they did was they titled and put the title down in the description, and then they filled the tag section with a bunch of tags. Then he purposely came up with a script where he never mentioned the title, he never mentioned the description, and he never mentioned any of those words in the tags. He started talking about something completely and totally off topic that didn't match up with the title or the description at all. And this went public and it got a couple 100,000 views. And people were real confused by it. The comments were going nuts about, well, this is just clickbait. It had nothing to do with what you were talking about or the title or anything like that. He came back 2 weeks later, I believe it was, says, this is the experiment I was doing. He had a bunch of other people doing searches for keywords that they picked out of the transcript, that subtitle transcript, and they would search for them, and his video came up in those searches. Then they did searches for those tags, those keywords he has in the tags, and in some cases, the video never came up. In other cases, they were like 8, 10, 12 pages back. They just kept having to scroll back and go to next page, go to next page. So YouTube is using the transcript to those automatic closed captions for search results. I have for the last, I want to say 5 years, I have been very diligent about closed captioning my videos. I take those automatic closed captions, I download them, I put them in a word processor, I spell check, I go through and correct things and edit them, then upload that file back up, and then synchronize and make sure that everything is right. Because when I say something on camera, I want that text to be showing up on the screen. So I take a morning, usually Saturday morning, and while I'm having my coffee, that's what I'm doing. I'm adjusting the closed cap. It takes about an hour. And that's fine because it's an easy way for me to wake up and go face my Saturday. Then I discovered that with 5 clicks of a mouse, I can translate those closed captions into up to 140 different languages. So I currently translate all my closed captions into 12 other languages, then use Google Translate to translate my titles and description into those 12 languages. And as I sit right now, about 46% of my viewers use closed captions. They use those subtitles, predominantly in English, but also in German, in French, in Spanish, in Portuguese, in Turkish, in Dutch, Indonesian, Italian. And it's 5 clicks of the mouse per language. And that takes me 15 minutes, maybe, to get all of those, to include title and description, translated into those other languages. And then they get pushed out in those countries using those subtitles. Again, using those keywords in those subtitles, the algorithm's pushing it out in those countries where I'm getting those views. It helps, you know. Let's see here. The Phoenician Artisan wants to know, is there a specific time slot to upload videos to get the best results? Yes and no. If you go to your YouTube studio and click on analytics, it'll be over on the left side. If you click on analytics and kind of scroll down on that front page, you'll see a big purple block. It looks like an equalizer LED display. And what that does is it shows the prime times your viewers are online when they're on YouTube watching. Personally, I threw all that out. I don't hover over the analytics like I used to when I first got started. What I decided to do was, came about by accident, actually. What I decided to do was I decided to release my videos on Sunday morning at 7 a.m. Eastern, which is 4 a.m. Pacific out here. I'm asleep. It's scheduled. I have it all scheduled and ready to go Friday evening usually. So it goes live at 7 in the morning Sunday. I figure the East Coast folks get up, have their coffee, watch my video before they go to church. The West Coast folks will probably do the same. Then several hours later, noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, I have a live stream, a live Q&A about that video that was released that day. So we're 3 in the afternoon, folks are home from church. Maybe they've had some shop time, maybe they haven't. Probably have had their lunch and they're ready to sit back and kind of relax. Let's have a discussion. Those are for the folks in the US. But because I'm translating all those closed captions, we get folks, we've got somebody right here. Len Starkey is in Western Australia. What is it? It's Thursday afternoon Thursday morning or Thursday afternoon over there. Now, isn't it, Len? You probably either are getting ready to go to lunch or just had lunch, and it's Thursday, you know? So there are people all over the world. The UK is 8 hours ahead of me. So it's 6 o'clock in the evening here. It's 2 o'clock in the morning in the UK. There are probably not even up watching this. Why would they? They got to go to work tomorrow. Okay, Chris Gallagher said, just have breakfast. Okay, all right. See? It's 9 o'clock Thursday morning. Okay. So when you say what's the best time to post, the best time to post is when you want to post it. Your subscribers are going to see you come up in the subscription feed, and other folks are going to see it when it comes up in their suggested feed. So what does more to get it in front of people's eyes is to share it off the YouTube platform. What I mean by that is share it on your social media, put it on your Facebook homepage, put it on your Instagram page, put it on your Twitter page, put it on TikTok, whatever, with a link to come over here to YouTube and watch this video. Come check it out. That does more to spread the word than worrying about what time, because the deal. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. So whatever's convenient for you may not be convenient for the next guy. And what's convenient for the next guy may not be convenient for you. So I say release it now, whenever you want to. Um, let's see here. Um, okay, Brooks Martin had the first question here. And whoops, I just got rid of it. So I'll use this one. Is there a way to push clicks to the latest update of a topic? And I know what he means now. I didn't know at the beginning. Brooks did a video and posted it, and the link is out there, and he's getting views on it. Then he added information, created another video, and uploaded it. And I think what you're trying to ask, Brooks, is there a way to push the clicks on your first video over to the second video? The short answer is no, there isn't. The long answer is what you can do is everywhere you had linked that first video, if the information in that first video is no longer valid, and basically your second video just added information but could be a standalone video rather, go back to that first video and make it unlisted. Just make it unlisted so it doesn't show up anymore, but you don't lose the views and the watch hours that you had on that video. Just make it unlisted. Then anybody looking for that topic is now going to come to your latest video. Now, obviously, if it's a part 1 and a part 2, then leave them both up. And in the description, make links back and forth to one another. That's about the best you can do. But if your updated video could stand alone, just unlist your first video. Then it's not cluttering up your home page, your videos page on your YouTube channel. Don't make it private, because if you make it private, you can lose all of those views and the watch time. But if you make it unlisted, you don't lose anything. Now, people who have the link to that video can still go watch it, but that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Excuse me. There are probably 1,000 different ways to get your videos in front of people. Probably the best way is to let other people do it for you. And that comes in with sharing videos. When you see somebody making something that you absolutely love, share the video with your friends. It's real easy to do, and YouTube makes it easy. Just there's a link down there. Just about everything on a YouTube page is a link if you hover your cursor over it. Right down below the video panel, you'll see share with a little arrow. Click that button and a little panel is going to open up, and it'll say, where do you want to share it to? Facebook, Twitter, a bunch of different social media things. just click on one of them, like on Facebook, and another tab's going to open up, and it looks just like a Facebook page. It's going to say, okay, you want to send this to somebody in a private message, you want to put it on your timeline, you want to put it on your stories or your feeds, or where do you want to share it to? Then you type a little thing, hey, check this video, I thought it was cool. Then you click post, and it'll go to your timeline, or it'll go to somebody in a private message, or it'll go in a group, something like that. It's real easy to do. The more people share your videos, the more eyes they get there, they get in front of. But also, if somebody else is sharing it, I don't know, we tend to be pretty cynical when we see things like that. If I'm promoting my videos on social media, that's what you would expect me to do. But would you expect me to promote Michael Mazalek's videos on my homepage? Which I do and have done. I refer Michael all the time. I refer Michael so often, a link to his channel is permanently in every one of my live Q&A videos. It's just there because I refer people to him so often. You know, I guess if I was going to sum up everything, it would be to tell you that if I can do this, you can do this. Um, I'm not out to be rich and famous from YouTube. I'm very comfortable where I am. My wife and I can go anywhere we want to go and nobody bothers us. I'm not making $1 million a year. I've never made $10,000 off of YouTube a year. I'm talking about annually. I'm fine with that. I'm not here to make money. I'm here to help people who genuinely want to get into using a CNC router use that CNC router. They've made a large investment with a large amount of money, and they're scratching their heads and they want to know what to do. How do I do this? I'm trying to reach out to those people and let them know that if you are willing to sit down with the software and learn how to use it and get some experience with it, you can do this. So, it's there are no secrets, there are no hidden tricks, there is no wizardry or voodoo involved in any of this. There's no magic hat and wand. Nothing will ever replace experience. The only way to get that experience is to do it and keep doing it. And it's the same thing with YouTube videos. If you want to shoot a 45 seconds in your front yard and 45 seconds in your backyard, and then 45 seconds in your garage, then take those 3 separate clips into the house, sit down at your desktop, put all 3 of those clips on the desktop, then cut them together. Render it into one video. You've made your first successful video. That counts. And it's the beginning. You're going to learn to use the tools. You're going to learn the limitations of your software. You're going to learn better camera tricks. You're going to learn, oh, I can't point it at the sun. I've got to have the sun behind me. Ooh, there's a nasty shadow over there. It's all in experience. And the only way to get that experience is to do it. And I encourage it. I highly recommend it. No, it's not for everybody. There's a lot of people that don't want to be on camera, and I fully understand that, and I support that 100%. But you can make great content and not be on camera. And there are a lot of people doing it, and they're pretty big. So, you know, um, try it. I mean, you're not going to be a star overnight. Those people are very, very rare. But if you're willing to work at it and you're willing to do it at a pace that's comfortable to you, don't put pressure on yourself. As I said earlier, the conventional wisdom at the time was a video a week and it's got to be less than 10 minutes. BS. BS. You know, um, I did that a video a week grind for about 4 years, and it wore me out. And the fastest way to kill your enthusiasm for something is to make it your job. And it was starting to feel like a job. And I always said that if this starts getting to be a job, I quit because I don't want a job. I'm retired. So I had to back off of that when I was building the shed, and I made it every other week. And then pretty soon that got to be too much, and I had to back it off to once a month. Where I'm sitting right now, because I've got so many other things going on, is when I have time. And I have to do that because I've got so many things that don't go on camera going on in the background. That's fixing to slow down, and I can get back to it. But do it at a pace that's comfortable for you. There are a few YouTubers that I know of, one that I know personally, that they put out maybe 4 videos a year, and they've got a couple 300,000 subscribers, and they make a very good income off of those channels. But it's the content they're putting out there, not how often they put it out. So, if you've got a talent, if you've got a different angle, if you've got something you've never seen done before, by all means, shoot some video of it, edit it. You don't even have to set it to music. Just turn the volume down, post it. You may be surprised. And if I could give you one last little bit of free advice that's worth every penny you're paying for it, keep it fun. Keep it fun. Editing can be drudgery if you let it. It can be work if you let it. Don't let it. Break it up into smaller chunks. Like I say, you got 6 video clips you need to edit together, do 2 today, and then go do something else. Don't put pressure on yourself to get it out by a certain time, because the only person putting a time limit on you is you, and you're the one in charge. Keep it fun. Make it a learning experience and have fun with it. And do it at a pace that's comfortable for you. All right. See, 2 Elm Build says, when I have time is exactly how I do it. I have 5 other kids and other YouTube channels. I have 5 kids and other YouTube channels, so it's the only way for me. Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? It's okay to take a break. It is. I mean, I've taken several. A couple of them totally against my will, but that's because I have health issues. But what can I say? Um, Jack in the Shop says, in my last video, I turned a rock into cotton with a fiber laser. Now, see, that's just cool. Yeah, I want to see that. So, that's the kind of content that I'm talking about. Yeah, I don't know. I maybe I'm just jaded. Maybe I'm just old and cantankerous or cynical. But I can't watch people run material through a table saw anymore. Do you know how many miles of material I've run through a table saw? It's just like, oh my gosh, I'm hitting that right cursor button to advance 5 seconds until he's off of that table saw. Please. I know I shouldn't be doing that, but I mean, and that's another thing. You don't have to film every single cut. If folks get the idea, they get the idea, move on. So yeah, you don't have to spend a lot of money to get started. You don't have to spend a dime to get started. A lot of people, the best camera they have is their cell phone. And why would you want to change that? Shoot a few clips, download some free software, edit it together, practice and play. Learn how to time lapse, learn how to adjust volume, learn how to equalize volume, post it and go for it. If you want to shoot vertical video and keep it under a minute, do it as a YouTube short. I mean, I will never try to discourage anybody from trying it, because you just may love it. It could turn into a career, or it could just turn into a fun hobby, which is what it is for me. I go back to the Super 8 millimeter film days. I got my first movie camera in 1968. I was 7 years old. And I edited 8mm film and was just getting into 16mm film when VHS came out and got real popular. Then that was a complete format change and outrageously expensive. I couldn't compete. I had to get out of it. Now this stuff on the computer, this is easy. I'm not physically splicing film together and taping it and shipping it off to have somebody else develop it and hope like hell the copy comes out good. So, all right, let's go ahead and wrap this up. Again, this was meant to be a one-time thing. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, issues, demands for payment, whatever, leave them down in the comments. I see every comment that's ever posted to my channel. If I have an answer, I will do everything in my power to get an answer for you, or at least refer you to somebody who knows. And as Chris Gallagher says, if you haven't tried it, how do you know if you're going to like it or not? I like that attitude. So, thank you everybody for watching. I know this was not CNC content. Do yourself a favor and get over and visit my buddy Steve Nealon at Harneal Media. If you're thinking about a web presence, if you have one and need to improve it, I will only ever refer you to Steve at Harneal Media. The guy's dynamite. He knows his stuff. He's competitively priced, and it's 100% personalized service. If you need a web presence, you need a website. Talk to Steve at Harneal Media. There's a link to Harneal Media in every video on my channel, and that's going to continue. Thank you for what you do, Steve. I really appreciate it. And thank you, everybody. Have a great night and see you Sunday. Y'all take care.